Welcome to the Step Change podcast from me, Mike Foster, the Entrepreneur's Mentor. Now, my podcast is established to help you with your thoughts in the development of your business. And this Step Change podcast is entitled The Entrepreneur's Journey. And in this episode, I'm joined by Ben Thompson of Thompson Terry and other business interests, and he's going to share his journey with us. We'll explore the why they started. We'll also look at what they've learned and also the highs and the lows. So welcome, Ben.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
So firstly, Ben, just tell us a little bit about your businesses.
Absolutely. So thanks for having me on the show, Mike. So I run Thompson Terry Recruitment, who are a blend of a headhunting firm and a recruitment agency. I also act as a recruitment mentor, trainer and coach. In addition to that, I co-own a networking organization and also have fingers in a couple of other pies, including a small property portfolio.
So certainly the entrepreneur label sort of suits yourself, Ben. So why did you become a business owner and entrepreneur?
It really started at a really young age for me. So right back to primary school, I was always quite interested in making money. So a normal kid will ask for a rabbit at Christmas. I asked for 3 chickens, not because I like chickens as pets, but because at the grand old age of 7, I knew I could make some cash out of them. So those 3 chickens quickly turned to near 20 chickens, and I was making about 50 quid a week out of these eggs, selling them to family friends who owned 2 bed and breakfasts. So it really started there. And then leaving education, I was really intentional with my career. So I was really thinking about each role, the skills it would give me to set up a business. And then back in 2014, there was an opportunity to launch a recruitment agency. I probably had 50 other business plans at the time. Why recruitment? Because I saw a gap in the market, and I felt that there was a really big opportunity for recruitment agencies, but actually there was something that could be fixed, which was that transparency of taking KPIs out of it, only getting a candidate in if you've got a job for them, only sending the CV if you feel that they're the perfect candidate for the role. And it sounds simple, but it's really, really worked 7 years later.
So is that predominantly what sparked your first business in terms of sort of seeing that market opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that in my working career, in my PAYE career, I was always very, very ambitious, and I was always looking to tinker with things. And actually, upon reflection, probably an employer's nightmare, because I always had this new idea, always wanted to do something new. And actually, I think that it was very much having the power and having that final say to implement some of these really kind of good ideas and be able to change them. Because actually, I think that sometimes fixing an idea that you've implemented and done wrong is often the most fun part of being an entrepreneur, isn't it?
Interesting. And would you say then, as many entrepreneurs do, you're not employable?
I think I would be challenging to manage. Let's just say that.
Okay. So what's one of the questions I like to ask is that where were you when you first realized that you were going to sort of start your own business? Where were you when you had that aha moment?
So I think with this business, I was very fortunate in terms of I was in a job that I was doing well at, a job that I enjoyed. But I think the point that I got to is that I had a big portfolio of accounts, and I probably went through maybe a kind of a 6-month period where I'd hit my target every month when I was going into the month, and I was enjoying my job, but I didn't really feel that there was anywhere really for me to go. And just one of my clients at the time said, "Ben, do you fancy setting up a business with me?" And I think that it was really the case of the first opportunity that came in. So we sat in Costa Coffee, and our client meeting actually went from what should have been half an hour to we were there for 4 hours talking about what the business would look like, why there was a challenge in the recruitment agency market, and how we would kind of fix it. So it really, from that point, really happened very quickly. It went from that 4-hour coffee. We then spent that whole following weekend planning the business, and within probably 6 months, the business was launched, and there was no going back.
Awesome. And always interesting to eavesdrop on the conversations in coffee shops, and I think I'll be listening for my next business opportunity now. So when you decided you were going to start your first business, what was the sort of first things you did? Who did you speak to? What sort of things did you enact?
To be honest, we probably did what you wouldn't learn in any business book. So we didn't actually go and get any advice. We purposely didn't talk to anyone about it. And I think the reason that we did that is because we wanted to be very different. Where other recruitment businesses were going left, we wanted to go right. And the whole business was set up on £500. You know, we set it up from our parents' bedroom at the time. All other recruitment agencies were getting candidates into register. We were being big on social media. At the time, it's really weird now because networking organizations are full of recruiters, but at the time there were very few networkers around. So we were really, really different. So we set up the business with no advice. But I think the bit where we got the advice was our first kind of 6 months of being in business, because, you know, we met a lot of people that through networking that genuinely really wanted to help us. And I think that we took a business that, yes, was a good idea, but then I think it only really became a business over that kind of 6 months of having a kind of a network of networkers that were kind of supporting us, really.
Great. Really honest reply. Appreciate that. I said today that we would explore the ups and downs. So what's been your biggest challenge today as an entrepreneur?
I think nobody's held me back. I think I'd probably go back to 2018. So in 2018, so Thompson and Terry was set up by myself and Mike Terry. And in 2018, I bought Mike's shares, and not because we're in a bad partnership. We got on really well. We grew the business to a stage. But I think that Mike and I were both very entrepreneurial and both wanted to push the business forward and wanted to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and think, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to implement that now. And I think that when I got the reins of Thompson and Terry, I very quickly tried to change it and change it a lot. So I doubled our business costs overnight. I really invested. I think I invested 3 times what we were ever spending before on marketing. I started hiring. I really, really quickly tried to grow the business, and being honest, it flopped. We're still here today, so it can't have flopped that much, but instantly almost our revenue started going down. And I was quickly had this kind of small business that had been working well to this kind of medium-sized business that wasn't working as well. So I had to make some quick decisions. And almost it took us a year to kind of really lick those wounds. But actually throughout that year, by the end of the year, we had a better business than we had ever had before. And we had grown in the way that we wanted to with that extra investment, but we were no longer spending the money. So I think that was probably my biggest flop, but also the recovery was the biggest thing that I learned. And it was about kind of really thinking about what's making us money, but also what's our mission statement? Why are our clients buying from us? You know, why are our network endorsing us? And I think that I probably tried to accelerate it more than I should have done. But no, it was fun recovering. It was fun recovering. I probably wouldn't have said that at the time, but no, it was fun recovering.
And, you know, interestingly, each entrepreneur I speak to, they say they learn more by the down times than they do by when they're riding the crest of the wave. But let's flip it the other side then. What's been your best moment as an entrepreneur?
I'm going to be greedy and I'm going to pick 2. I think that most recently, coming into January, I think 2020 was bad for recruitment agencies. That, you know, we're 95% of our business is permanent office recruitment, and I think there's not been many offices that have been open, let alone hiring. So I think going into January, I started the new year with a second limited company, which is a networking organization that we both know very well, and also a radio show, The Business Brunch with Ben and Mike. And I think that for me, that really felt great to have actually 2 businesses that are growing, and in recruitment case, recovering, in the networking organization case, growing very rapidly, combined with that business show, which is talking about business, which I love. So I think that was a big, big highlight for me. I think secondly, I think around my graduate programs. So within recruitment, one of the things that I've been really passionate about is developing young people. And in the summer of, again, 2018, I did some research, and there were only 7 graduate programs advertised within Oxfordshire SMEs that I could find. And considering we've got two very good universities, one of which one of the best in the world, I found that really weird. So we put together our own graduate program, employed a grad, Shannon, and she was promoted. So I think that promotion of Shannon, and at the same time rolling that out to other businesses, was really big, because young people need our help.
Great. And I guess we sort of highlight that the networking group that you mentioned is, you are my business partner with that as well, and it's great to do the radio show with you. But I'm learning things about you today that I didn't actually know, so it's quite interesting to explore that even further with you. So what one tip then, Ben, would you share with other entrepreneurs?
I think for me, the biggest thing is, and this is a tip, I promise, I'm going to give it in two parts, but I think the biggest tip for me is the bad never as bad as it seems, but the goods are never as good as it seems. I think that it's really, really important to remain level-headed. And I think that I see so many entrepreneurs through my networking and kind of business activities that have a really amazing quarter, a really great month, or launch this new product, and suddenly at the top of the world actually become complacent. And I think that I see so many business people, again, who have a bad month or a bad quarter and suddenly need to pack it all in and go and get another job. And actually, I think for me, the biggest bit of advice is really it's never as good as it seems, never as bad. And it's just consistently do the right things and continue kind of plodding along. And yeah, just continually try to develop and have that vision and work towards it.
Yeah, I like that, because it certainly is an entrepreneur a bumpy ride for many of us. And again, keeping that on the straight and narrow is certainly part of my role as a mentor, sort of supporting the businesses I work with. And what fuels your motivation then every single day?
Constantly finding ways to improve. I think for me, it's not necessarily just about the money. I think if you were to ask a 24-year-old version of me when I launched the business, I think that I would have very much said money was a big motivator. But I think the bit that I really enjoy is fiddling with bits to make them better. I think that just those very small changes. So, if it's with a networking organization, is there just that extra slot that we can add in to give members another opportunity to kind of showcase their skills to the room? Or if it's with the recruitment agency, can we change the interview process very marginally to get a better outcome for our clients? So within the recruitment business, I think the thing that I always bang on about is our stats. And at one point we were at 78% of the first CV we sent got the job, which is around about 10 times the national average, which we're so proud of. But it's about how can we get that to not necessarily even 79, but how can we get that to 78.1%? And if we can make that small tweak, like a Formula One car, lots of small tweaks make the difference. And I think that's the bit that I love.
Marginal gains philosophy. I must talk to you about that at some point. But yeah, fantastic. And what's the next year look like, or even the further future? What does it look like for you, for your businesses?
Honestly, I don't know. And again, that would have been an answer that I would have never given a year ago. I think that for me, one of the things that you and I talk about a lot is the 3 to 5 and 3 to 5. So to have 3 to 5 sources of income paying 3,000 to 5,000 each. And that is something that has always been quite interesting for me, because I quite like the ideas of having lots of different strings to my bow and the more contribute, but actually have a kind of an oversight of all of them. So I think that, yes, I want to add new things, new opportunities, and keep that excitement. I think, yes, I want to tinker, as we touched with before, in terms of each of my kind of opportunities. I think that for me, people is a big thing. So a great example is Aoife that works for me has recently been promoted. So it's about kind of developing her in her new role and pushing her further, and also other staff as well. So I think for me, I think this year, after so much change and after such a tough COVID year, I think it's very much really continuing with the tinkers. I don't think that I have a big plan, but actually my wife pointed out to me the other day, since we got together 6 years ago, there has been a massive life-changing thing that has happened as a result of me. Every single year I've done something when I've said I'm having a quiet year. So maybe you'll invite me back on in the year and I'll tell you about all the things that have happened over this last year.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad Rebecca's enjoying the journey as well. Then,
Bless her.
and let's just say 3 words then. 3 words that would explain to the listeners your entrepreneurial journey.
Exciting. How can I word not yet finished in one word? Incomplete. Gosh, I should have planned for this. Improvement. And I'll let the listeners define what that means.
Thanks, Ben. Much appreciate you sharing your entrepreneur's journey with us. Tell us how we can find out more about you and your businesses.
Yeah, get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's a big one. By all means, Google OBCN, Google Thompson and Terry, and you find out a little bit more about me there. But yeah, reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'm always really, really keen to talk to different people and expand my network. That's how I've got to where I am today. And yeah, always keen to continue doing that.
Excellent. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for sharing that. Again, thanks for sharing your entrepreneur's journey, the ups and downs, and the true feelings, and being openly honest with the listeners in terms of those answers to those questions. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Mike. It's been great fun.
So thank you for listening to my latest Step Change podcast. As always, I hope you found the content interesting, thought-provoking, and useful in the development of your own business. So please subscribe to my podcast, and when I release my next episode, you'll be one of the first to know.